Hello, one of the models I've been meaning to acquire for some time now is the Rokuhan C57, the standard 462 Pacific of the Japanese National Railways. I've chosen to get the bog standard one rather than any of the fancy ones like the Royal version, because this is going to be the sort of workaday loco that's going to run on the Hako layer behind me. Introduced in 1937, a total of 201 C57s were built, with another 14 being built for export to Taiwan. Remarkably, 32 of these are now preserved, with 2 in working order, C57-1 and C57-180, that see regular outings on steam excursions. These coal burning Pacifics were built to 3'6" gauge and had a gross weight with a tender in fully laden condition of just under 115 tonnes. As expected, it comes in the standard Rokuhan crystal case with the loco on one side and a very small accessory pack on the other, with the instructions underneath in both Japanese and English. As Rokuhan's first tender steam engine, it's obviously going to invite comparisons with the earlier Tenshodo offerings, the D51 and the C62. In comparison to those, it doesn't have separate handrails, but the first impressions are quite good. There are a couple of things that let it down. One is that most of the valve gear is actually plastic, the Welsh valve gear, and it does contrast with the actual metal connecting and coupling rods. And secondly, by necessity, the rear couple box has to stick out of the backs to fit it in. They've missed the opportunity to put a blackened top plate on, so there's a very shiny bit of plated metal above the rear coupling, which does rather stand out. The smoke deflectors are etched, and the number plates don't have the facility to change, so this is actually C57-5. C57-5, the subject of this model, is preserved at Himeji near Hyogo as a static exhibit. Like the Tenshodo models, it has the motor and the tender. I'm assuming it's got a flywheel on it, with a card shaft drive through to the loco. It is lighter than the Tenshodo locos though, but initial tests have shown that it's quite a good puller. Now when I started to the running in-turn to it prior to filming, I did find out a slight problem with it. It actually managed to derail on some of the new track on Hako and knock the return crank off the left hand side. I was in two minds whether to send this back to Japan as a warranty thing, but then realised that it's actually just clipped in. So I very carefully clipped it back in, and it's worked perfectly ever since. You just need to be aware that you mustn't catch that part of the valve gear because it is going to spring out. So in conclusion, this is quite a nice model. I'm going to do a couple of things with mine. I'm going to certainly put some, I've got some finely graded anthracite, really finely graded anthracite coal, which I'm going to disguise a plastic moulded coal load with. I'm going to tone down the valve gear and do a light bit of weathering on it as well. It's going to be a very useful loco running on Hakuho and also on Republic Steel when I run it in Japanese form. And I might still be very tempted to get the Imperial one at some stage, simply because it looks spectacular with the flags and decorations on the front of it. I'm hoping at some stage that Rokuhan will introduce a 9600 280 as well. I certainly on the wish list on some of the forums I put that down as a thing I'd like to see them bring out next, but we'll have to wait and see what they come up with.